All right, look at me, 2 in a row, right on schedule. Today, Tarang Asks. I'm sorry, I'm probably not pronouncing that right, but I don't know what it's supposed to be. Wanted to ask you about the explosion phase of the snatch. Does one need to hit/contact the bar at the end of the pull or just shrug up? I've been trying to correct my pull under. A hit kind of forces the bar forward for me, while just a shrug up might not get it high enough. Yes, here is the weightlifter's lament, right? The short answer is yes. You have to contact the bar and the body at the top of the pole. In the snatch and the clean, you absolutely have to do it. There is no way to properly snatch or clean without contact. The proper finished position of a snatch or a clean is the legs about vertical, right? Because you're driving vertically through the floor, and then the hips slightly hyperextended to bring the shoulders behind the hips behind the bar. If your shoulders are behind the bar, right? So here's your hip, the bar's right there, here are your shoulders. That means that the bar wants to swing in because it's essentially attached to a pendulum. You know, your shoulders are the top of that pendulum. So if we lean forward, that bar wants to swing away from the body, right? Because it wants to hang straight below. If our shoulders are then behind the hips, the bar wants to hang straight below, which is where? Back here. But of course your body's in the way, so that bar is going to touch the body and stop. So that's contact. If you do not have contact at the top of your pull, then that means you have not finished pulling. You have not extended your body completely. And again, this doesn't mean that you have to have this crazy hyperextension where you're doing a back walkover or you're tucking your head all the way up your ass. But it means that you are slightly past vertical. If you are extended perfectly vertically, even if you have contact but you're perfectly vertical, your weight is too far forward, right? Because your center of mass is farther forward than it is with just your body alone, because you have a bar that's full of weight that is in front of your body. It is in front of your body's center of mass. So that means the combined system center of mass is forward. Okay, everyone get what I'm saying? Nod yes if you do. In other words, you have to have more of that body mass slightly behind where it would need to be without a weight in order to be balanced over your feet, over your base with a weight. That was probably a really complicated, convoluted sentence, but I'm sure you guys are all sharp enough to follow me. So your next question here is that, or the thing you mentioned is that if you contact, that forces the bar away. Here's what you have to keep in mind. Contact does not necessarily inherently push the bar away from the body. It only does that when you're not doing it correctly, right? Kind of like nothing works when you do it wrong. So what you've got to practice is bringing that bar into contact, achieving that full extension position, and doing so in a way that still creates overwhelmingly vertical force on the bar rather than having a significant horizontal component to it. I'll link a couple of videos below this one that discuss that in more detail for you with some good visuals. But essentially what you're trying to do is keep the bar as close to the legs as possible prior to that full contact at the hip. The farther away the bar starts, the more it's going to want to deflect off the body when it finally contacts, right? The closer it is, the more it's going to deflect along, basically match that angle of entry. That angle of exit is going to be the same, right? You also need to be really driving hard with the legs vertically through the completion of the hip extension, right? Without that leg drive with the hip extension, you end up pushing the hips forward through the bar, which means you get contact, but that bar is going forward. You end up doing more like a kettlebell swing than a snatch or a clean. And then finally, of course, you have to use the upper body, the proper mechanics of that pull under, in order to maintain that proximity and kind of force it to continue through that thing. So that's a bit of a backup, right? It's not the ultimate solution. The ultimate solution is to extend properly before and after contact. And then the arms are kind of like your backup plan, right? That's going to reinforce what you've already done properly. It's not going to completely fix if you've done it completely wrong, right? Practice with snatch pulls, especially snatch pull to hold. Snatch high pull is going to get you connecting that lower body extension with the initial pull of the arms. So it'll help you learn how to time that and how to guide that bar right up the body rather than allowing it to swing away first and then trying to pull it back because you screwed up. And then of course doing snatches from the power position. So your trunk is vertical, you're bending at the knees only, just like you would in the dip of a jerk. You're gonna hold that position, feel your balance, feel that bar against your hip, and then drive and extend straight up and then extend back, right? And that way you're feeling that bar in full contact, in kind of the ideal position that you want to be in as that contact happens in a regular snatch, and you're feeling that vertical drive along with that final hip extension that is moving the bar up rather than out. So keep working on those things and understand very clearly that you do have to have contact. It's not contact or shrug, it's contact and shrug, right? You can do all those things together properly. And just remember that the shrug is really just a part of that upper body motion to pull under, right? It happens kind of at the transition from up to down. You're not going to complete that shrug while still extended, but you're not going to wait to start that shrug until you're already moving down. That's what's going to kind of bridge the second pull with the third pull. Good luck, buddy.
Greg Everett with Catalyst Athletics here. Please subscribe, like, and share this video. If you have questions, post them in the comments. I answer all of them. Also check out catalystathletics.com for the biggest Olympic weightlifting exercise library out there, along with hundreds of free articles and videos and other resources for both athletes and coaches.